What is up, everybody? Wow, I didn't realize that we were live. How are we doing today? I was live earlier and it seemed to delete off my channel. So I decided to come back on, do a new live, and talk about why men with POTS suffer. If you were not on the last live, let's check audio real quick. Got to make sure that it is working. No, this video is not made for kids. Okay, it's working. So, okay. The reason why I am making this live, or the reason why I want to talk about this specifically, right? This in particular, is because yesterday I posted a short or a reel. I don't know how you say it for YouTube, something of that nature, that basically was just talking about, it was just talking about how men suffer differently than women do. And this guy commented on the video basically calling me a misogynist. No, he actually did say that I was a misogynist and that women suffer worse with POTS because of PMS and a whole host of other things. And so it's my goal in this here to talk about male struggles with POTS syndrome and not diminish women's struggles, which, by the way, I didn't do at all. You guys can go and watch the short if you would like to. My goal is to acknowledge that both of the sexes have different challenges that we face. And I think that that's okay that we face different challenges, and it should be acknowledged, because without acknowledging that, we'll never get to the bottom of how to solve the problem, because it's not a catch-all, right? If you're a guy, we're going to keep it super frank and very and very, why is Zoom popping up? We're going to keep it very frank and candid here. If you're a guy and you have a dick, right, and you're, it won't work, for a lack of better terms, because of your POTS syndrome, that's a little bit of a different struggle than a woman's struggle, if you catch my drift. So it's okay to acknowledge that both of the sexes have different struggles here. That's not putting one specific sex down and propping up the other. It just is the reality of the situation. The other thing that I really want to acknowledge here is that in the world, in culture and society, everybody tells men to speak up and to be more emotional and to be more, how do you say it? I don't really know how to say it. They want us to speak up, talk about our issues and all these different things. But in the real world, it's not really practical, and it doesn't actually work like that. Every single guy that I have gotten the pleasure of coaching with POTS have all come to me and said something to this effect, which is their wife or girlfriend or women around them in their family wanted them to speak up and wanted them to be more emotional and more vulnerable. And then when they did, they suddenly, after a while, became a burden, and it was too much. Or maybe the woman doesn't, like, the girlfriend or the wife doesn't believe that they're still struggling, or didn't believe it ever. Those types of things. Every single man that I've worked with has had that similar struggle. Every single one. Not one has not had that struggle. And so the thing is that, like, men don't speak up because they don't feel heard. They just don't. The majority don't. And are there going to be those weird random cases where they are heard and where they feel heard? Absolutely. But we're not talking about the exception to the rule. We're talking about the rule, which is the majority of men don't feel heard, so they don't speak up, so they suffer in silence. POTS is a female-dominated chronic illness, right? Which is not like a good thing at all whatsoever. But it does give you perspective then, if it's mostly dominated by females, that there aren't as many resources for men or people to look to for men that have had the same struggles as a man in terms of what men in the broad spectrum actually want out of life and how to fix it, and that can relate, because relatability is humongous when it comes to healing from anything: trauma, depression, anxiety, chronic illness, all these different things, right? And so that's why I focus so hard on this now. That's why I'm focusing so much on men, because I'm a man who went through probably exactly what you're feeling if you're a man that is dealing with this, right? If you're a man, it's likely that you are very purpose driven, or you want a purpose, or maybe you've dealt with some depression because you feel the lack there of purpose, right? Men typically, men are typically very goal oriented, right? And they want to protect, provide, provision. And when you go through chronic illness, or you're in those beginning stages of getting, or you're in the beginning stages of getting diagnosed, the part that really sucks, you're getting the symptoms, your life is slowly starting to fall apart, you're scared, you don't know what's happening, you feel like that's all about to be ripped away from you. And a lot of men end up feeling emasculated due to this. They no longer feel like a man because they can't provide. They're not as brave. They can't protect. They can't provision because they can't go out, because they feel like they don't have the energy to get a second job, or to start a new side hustle, or to start their business, or to work as hard at their job. So they feel like it's all going to come crumbling down. Again, it's not to say that women don't have these fears either, but the difference here is that men, no one is coming to save a man. Somebody will save a woman. It is what it is, right? Most men, if you're already chronically ill and dealing with this stuff, you're not going to have a woman that's going to, or anybody's really going to feel that sorry for you and come and save the day for you. And so you need to take the responsibility to figure out the solution to the issue, create the solution, and then solve the problem. And that's what everybody's looking for you to do anyways in life. When I was going through this in the beginning, my son was going to be born. I think we were a year out, and I was just really starting to get the legs under my business. So I have an athletic training business now, a very, very prominent online business, online training, mostly focusing now on men with POTS. Building a big community for men with POTS, because I think it's the problem that we need to focus on now. But back then I was building my business, and I was doing pretty well. I was averaging probably $7,000 to $8,000 a month or something. And I started having all these weird symptoms, and I started literally leaving sessions with people saying that I had family emergencies, family emergency after family emergency. And I was making good money. I didn't know what was going on. All I knew was that whatever is happening is going to ruin my business and my ability to be able to provide for my child that's on the way. I had nobody to talk to about this. My girlfriend at the time, she wasn't making any money, and she didn't really want to go work. She didn't have that in her, which whatever, she's pregnant. It is what it is, right? Not very go-getter style, but it is what it is. We have a great relationship. She's the mother of my child. I'm not saying anything bad about her. I'm just telling the truth about what the situation was. And so naturally, I started to freak out. I was like, people depend on me. My parents don't have money. I have nobody to fall on if things go left. I cannot let this ruin my business. I started to feel emasculated. I was very oh my gosh, what's going to happen? I was sulking, and finally I came to a breaking point where I was like, I need to solve this problem, because if I don't, literally we'll be homeless. We'll be homeless if I don't figure this out. And so I think that one issue with a lot of dudes on the internet who are going through POTS, and they see this as they don't get better because they don't actually have life slap them in the face, and they're not actually desperate, right? They're desperate in a different way. They're desperate in the way that they don't like how they feel, so they want to get better, but they're not desperate in the way that I was desperate, which was everything is literally falling apart. And if it falls apart, I have no one. There is no one, and I've worked with other guys like that too. But a lot of the guys on the internet, they're not like that. That's why they can lay in bed all day, because they have parents that can take care of them. They have parents that they can stay at their house. I'm sure I could have slept on my parents' couch if that was the case, but I was about to have a kid. And a lot of these people don't have these responsibilities that I was bearing at the time. And I know that a lot of men are bearing right now while they're trying to push through and suffer with POTS. So I had to figure it out. And so I did. I figured it out. But again, that was due to the fact that men have different issues. I have these issues that I need to take care of, because if I don't, no one else is going to. No one. I also think it's quite insensitive for people to say that men and women suffer the same. It's insensitive to say, and I'm not at all like an offended person or somebody who believes that everybody needs to be treated equal and all these different things, but it's very insensitive to say things like that, because you're actually taking away from men's suffering by saying those things, by saying that everything is the same, everything is equal, women suffer more, whatever it is. Everyone suffers. Chronic illness just sucks. It's just not good. It doesn't, like, you can't measure more or less. We have different struggles, and that's okay. It's okay to have different struggles with it. So the struggles of being a man with POTS syndrome can get really heavy really fast. I got to make sure these settings are all right, because somebody commented the other day that live chat. Somebody commented the other day that I had the settings to made for kids, so they could not comment. Okay. I hope that that's not the case right now. Not the case anymore. So what are we doing in terms of helping men? You guys, I have decided, I'm going to give you guys a little bit of background of what has been going on in my life, because I've been gone for the past almost, I think, 6-7 months. I've been gone. Most of you probably know, if you're OGs of this channel, that I owned a gym for a while. I closed it down. There were some bad business dealings. I had this podcast, so I closed down my gym, and I redirected my business. I figured out how to run the online business better, and I started coaching more, just like Gen Pop people online. Started doing like challenges and stuff like that, and yeah, got into a mentorship program. Completely flipped my business around. Got more in-person clients. Like, business has been very good. But recently I just came to the realization that I actually don't care that much about getting people shredded, jacked and shredded. I did a lot of that in my younger years. I have done so much of that in my life, and it's just not challenging. It's not stimulating. I still do it, obviously, because I need to provide for my family. Again, I do well, with that. But again, it's not very stimulating. It's not really what I'm passionate about, right? I I joined a mentorship program funny enough, it was January 1st, and I like no intentions of that. It just happened that I joined January 1st. And so what happened was I joined this thing. It completely turned my business around, like in a good way. But the one thing that they hammer on so much is find your niche. Find the thing that you're passionate about, the thing that you're very good at, the thing that you know the most about, and help those people. Like everything is about helping people, right? And so, you know, as I've been going through this the past 6 months, I've really realized that like yeah, I'm good at doing that stuff, right? I'm very good at it. But I'm just not like passionate about it. It just doesn't matter that much to me because getting people jacked and shredded is pretty cool, but it's like again, it's not stimulating, doesn't do much for the brain. A lot of it is just kind of like same stuff. Um, hold on one second. It's all the same stuff. You know, I can tell you your macros. I can tell you the workout plan. I can tell you cardio and stuff like that. It's not really much else to it. Like you can't really be a better coach than other coaches in terms of that. But the one thing that I've really realized, because I've been getting DMs and messages and emails about POTS coaching and stuff. The one thing that I really realized that I can affect the most people the best way is in the POTS space. There's really no other male figure, I guess, that's doing this that, how do I say this? I try not to take this the wrong way. There's really no other masculine male figure in this space that's holding men accountable and and coaching and producing results. Any male that I've seen online that's, you know, talking about POTS, it's kind of like a woe is me, sorry type of dude. And none of them are like better or offering coaching. I have helped so many people with POTS at this point that it keeps coming back in terms of like I can actually affect people's lives. Like I've taken people from bedridden and wheelchairs into normal everyday life. And that is so rewarding. And it's the way that I can actually like really make an impact somehow. Um, but this time it's hyper focused and I have the tools now to do it better because of the mentorship program that I joined and all the things that they've taught me in terms of like organizing things and like, you know, helping people at a broader scale. And so I'm reopening my coaching for people with POTS, and not that I ever closed it, but I just stopped taking people with POTS because I had so many Gen Pop clients. And now I'm at a manageable position with that where I understand the flow. I understand what to do with the Gen Pop, that it can kind of just ride. And I can take on people with POTS and like start re-affecting more lives and start like really helping people get better. And there's something that I get to be nerdy about. There's more analyzing. It's more involved in terms of like solving a problem because not every case is the same. Not everyone is the same. And so, yeah, and I have another coach on staff with it too. So it's not just me this time. There's another person because I know that this is going to pop off for certain. This is going to pop off. We're going to have a big POTS community. We're going to try to grow it as much as possible. My goal is to have between 25 and 50 people in this community by the end of August. I know that we can hit that. And so, yeah, we're going to have a community that is unlike anything else. It's going to have the most resources that anybody could have. We're going to live stream just for the community and for the clients on Zoom 1 to 2 times a week, depending on how many clients, you know, how many people are in the community. We're going to offer the most comprehensive program that anyone with POTS as a male could ask for. So yeah, I really encourage you guys to get in touch. If you're a man suffering with POTS and you've been quiet for a long time, suffering in silence, and you have not had a plan and you've just been sulking, this is your chance to be held accountable, have a safe space to talk about the issues that are exclusive to men, to talk about literally anything relating to men and POTS and the struggles, and actually have an action plan, right? And have other men that are willing to hear you out and hear how you're doing and how bad you're doing, how good you're doing, and help support you and cheer you on and celebrate wins and also hold your feet to the fire and tell you if you're being a little bit of a pussy or not, really being held accountable, because that's a lot. When I talk to men, that's a lot of the issue, is that they have no one to report to. They have no plan. They're just trying to muscle through. And because they're trying to muscle through without a plan, they crash and they're back at square one. Then they got to restart, crash, back at square one. They got to restart. And then also, they're just not being held accountable to like pull back, or being held accountable to stick to the diet, or being held accountable to, do the breath work and try to stay in a positive attitude. They go on the Reddit forums and the Facebook things and everything is doomsday. We don't allow that. We will fire clients. We will fire clients. We will tell them to get out of the program. And so that's the whole spiel on the community. So you'll get your own coach, you'll get an individual workout program, you'll get your diet analysis, you'll get your supplement regimen depending on your symptoms and how you should actually titrate the supplement doses, and get your custom food plan together and get your workout program together, your step plan. And then you get a community of other guys that are going to hold you accountable and be there for you. So yeah. I hear a lot of men. I understand that they're suffering, and I don't want men to suffer anymore. And I think that we're just told too much in culture and in society that we need to speak up, but secretly people are hoping that you don't actually speak up. And so I want a place where we can speak up, and we can and you guys can talk to other men and feel masculine and call each other out in a good way when you need to be called out. Because that's how men look, dude. There's just some things that are innate to male nature. I'm drinking ketones, by the way. I'll tell you guys a quick little story about things that are innate to male nature, and I think it's true for every male. Okay. So my son, I told this on the last live stream, but my son, I do kickboxing, Muay Thai kickboxing. Okay. I have for 7 years, probably on and off, 5 to 7 years on and off. I just rejoined a Muay Thai gym, and I also do jujitsu, mixed martial arts stuff. I do CrossFit, all this stuff, right? My focus recently has been Muay Thai and jujitsu. And my son came to a class. I asked him if he wanted to go to family jujitsu night. He said, yeah. I didn't realize that there was going to be a kids MMA class beforehand. So I asked him before we got there, I was like, hey, I just saw that there's a kids MMA class. He's 7 years old. Do you want to do it? What is MMA? Well, they're going to teach you striking and some grappling stuff, blah, blah, blah. Explain it to him. He's like, yeah, I want to do it. Okay, cool. Is Nana going to do it? Which is like my little sister. Yeah, she's going to do it. All right. Yeah, I'll do it. We get there and he sees that like, oh, this is the real deal. Like, this is like, they're not allowed to hit in the head or the face because they're too young for that, but they'll strike, they'll hit, the body, they grapple, they throw each other, they choke, they do everything. And he got scared. I could see the fear in his eyes, right? He didn't want to do it. And then we talk it out, and eventually he gets in there and he does it. And so the best part about it was that he gets in the ring and he gets lit up by this kid, Boomer, right? Pop, 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 pop. He gets lit up. And I see the light go on. like that, right? My son is like not very aggressive. He's the sweetest boy ever. And like, I love that about him. He's very like emotional and he's in tune with the emotions. And he's just one of those guys. Like he is how I was when I was younger, very emotional and very in tune. He's like easygoing, easy to talk to. He'll kill it with the women later on in life because of that. So he's got to be taught some masculine stuff because he can't be super emotional, and be walked all over. But anyway, I digress. I love that about him, right? But there is something innate in nature, right? He was scared and then he got lit up. He finally realized like, oh, this is where I can let some stuff out, right? He got hit. He got thrown to the ground. He got choked. He did the same thing because he does jujitsu already. So he knows some of this stuff. He's done kickboxing a little bit. And he comes out and he's like, doing the Conor McGregor walk. And he's super happy. And I asked him if he liked it. And he said that he loved it. Later on, after a few sessions, I've asked him, like, what do you like about it? He's like, I just like that I can get some of this out. And I was like, oh, you like that you can like let your emotions out a little bit. Like, this is how boys express themselves. Okay. This is not toxic. This is not bad. This is a controlled environment. And they teach you, don't do this in public. Don't do this at school. It's very organized. It's martial arts. And so this is how boys express themselves, through physicality. There's nothing toxic about that. By the way, that's not toxic masculinity. That would be toxic and bad if people were just beating people up in general. It has nothing to do with masculinity. But there is something masculine about the fact that men gravitate towards physicality, right? And as a little boy, I got to see that happen with him. The same thing doesn't happen when our daughter Izzy goes to jujitsu. She doesn't light up the same way, right? But she likes it, but it's more like a brain thing. But she doesn't light up because like she's dominating the class or anything like that. That's something that's innate to men, to boys. And so the same thing with pot syndrome. There's struggles that like are innate to us and that only another male could relate to and help you with, because we've been through it. We've been there. We've done the struggle. We've made it out. And we know, hey man, you had 500 steps left to do. What the hell were you doing? Why didn't you do it? And a proper way to call you out, where maybe a female would do that, like a good amount would, but they might be more kind about it. And sometimes people need that gentle nudge, and sometimes people need like an in your face, like, what the F, dude? Stop skipping your shit. It's not cool. Don't do it. Don't do it anymore. You're only letting yourself down. So the story about my son being in MMA, just to say, there's some things that are innate to men: physicality, expression of physical nature, expression of emotions. We express them different. So why not get around other men who express things the same way? Tanner's Aquatics. Justin, you're awesome, bro. God bless you. Hey, man, God bless you. Appreciate you. Glad that you're here. You must be a new subscriber. Now, if you guys have questions, this is where I'm going to open up to questions. I have a new TikTok and a new Instagram. Well, okay, I've had these accounts for a while, but I just started like really posting on them again. I think like 2 days ago. Been posting shorts on YouTube, or Reels, shorts. I don't know what it's called. These pages are starting to gain traction. So please go hit that description. Look at the TikTok page. It's Pots Fit. That's all it is. The new Instagram page is The Pot Solution. I know they should be the same name. I don't know why I did that. I obviously wasn't thinking, or maybe stuff just wasn't available. But please go follow those. That's where you guys will have access to like DM me and like get certain guides for free. I'm handing out guides for free, like hydration, sleep, food intolerances, how to find them, how to pull them out, how to reintroduce them back in, maybe supplement recommendations to help heal your gut or to heal certain things. But go follow those pages, dude. And then also with that, like, genuinely, guys, if you're tired of spinning your wheels and like you have just like you finally had enough and you're sick of suffering in silence, like, apply for one-on-one coaching. Shoot me an email, shoot me a DM, and let's get the conversation started. I'll shoot you my calendar so that you can hop on a 15 to 30 minute call with me. but go apply. Like, stop suffering in silence. Let's see if I can pop up some social proof. Let's see if I can show you guys some of my clients that I've had success with. Like, I've literally taken people from bedridden and wheelchairs out. So check this out. This is my client Mitchell. Right here is when he had POTS at his worst and he like couldn't do shit. He couldn't leave the couch. He couldn't leave, like he could only get to the couch and not, unless he was laying in his bed. And then here was like at the end of 6 months when we were like just crushing life, right? Like, he went from bedridden and only being able to make it to his couch to then like complete, like just being a unit. Like, how many of you guys actually would have thought that that was possible when you got diagnosed with POTS syndrome, right? I never would have. I never would have thought that I would have gotten POTS syndrome and then tried to go pro in CrossFit. I never would have thought that that would have been the trajectory of like my life, and then I got stopped by a neck injury. But the only thing stopping me was a neck injury. It wasn't because POTS, right? I mean, I just think it's like amazing that people can do this. That people can genuinely go from bedridden and in such a freaking mess of a situation. Yeah, I haven't gained like I don't have, like, I'm not viral on TikTok, but I went from like 20 some followers to 62 overnight, basically. So we're doing something right. We're putting out some good information. So please go follow that new page, those 2 new pages. Help me reach more people. Look at those kids. One, two, three, four, five, six. No way, there's a gang of them, dude. That makes me happy, bro. We don't see kids doing that anymore, like going out and having fun. Don't see that at all. That's sweet. So somebody on my recent post put, so it was about breakfast. For people who have very bad mornings, hard boil 3 eggs the night before so you don't have to do so much in the morning. Yeah. Again, POTS is really interesting in the sense that like there's no catch-all. There's no like one thing that's going to be beneficial for anybody. So for example, I got off the phone with a consultation on yesterday. Yesterday I had a consultation with somebody and we were talking about POTS and food intolerances and histamine. I actually did a video on this. Maybe that was, no, it was Sunday. I did a video on that Sunday. But so histamine seems to be like the big thing now, the big catch-all phrase that everybody's like, oh my gosh, I have MSAS and histamine is like my issue, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Histamine like maybe is not your issue, right? So this person just posted the egg thing. And my breakfast that I said was my favorite is 3 eggs and cottage cheese. You have to be careful with giving recommendations for people like that because histamine might not be the issue and it might be something else. And it might not even be an actual food intolerance that you're dealing with. And this is getting a little nerdy and away from the subject that we were just talking about. But I think that this is valuable. It might not actually be a food intolerance that you're dealing with. It could be the breakdown of what that food actually turns into later on. So eggs, for example, downstream after they've been digested and the compounds that get released, sulfur is one of them. And so if you are somebody who deals with brain fog and every day you have eggs and within 30 to, even 4 hours, 30 minutes to 4 hours, of having eggs or Brussels sprouts or cruciferous vegetables, things like that, you're having brain fog, you could have a sensitivity to sulfur. And so those are things to look out for. And if you're someone like me that like does have a sensitivity to sulfur, and I love having eggs, you need to make sure that your detox pathways are super efficient, right? So like I supplement glutathione. I ran out. I need to go get some. But I supplement glutathione every single day. Liposomal. It's like this little squirt bottle glutathione. I did a lot of liver cleansing because if you guys have been here for a while, you know that I went through mold toxicity. That's something that I battled for the past year. And so I did a lot of liver support to be able to actually have better detox pathways. And I feel really good now. But if you're somebody who does suspect a sulfur issue, so if you're eating cruciferous vegetables and eggs and you want to continue doing that, a really good supplement to take to tell whether or not this is your issue would be molybdenum or molybdenum, however people like to say it, because that helps clear sulfur. So if you take molybdenum or molybdenum, however you want to say it, close to cruciferous veggies, even dairy and eggs, and you don't experience brain fog anymore, or it clears up after taking it, you just figured out your issue. And these are things that we teach in the program, how to figure these things out, because we have experience. I see that there's people here. You guys speak up, comment. Shoot me some comments. Let me know some questions that I can answer, how I can help. Because ultimately, that's what I want to be here for. That's what I want to do. Just did kickboxing at 11. Was it 11? Yeah, 11 to noon. Came back, 8. And now I got to go do some weightlifting soon. Actually, we should see what's on the program. So I'm back to working out about twice a day, most days. But it doesn't look quite like how it used to, where it was CrossFit focused the entire time. It's now it's not Metcon, or not Metcons. It's now some sort of like CrossFit style weight training, and maybe a CrossFit Metcon, probably a CrossFit Metcon. And then some sort of martial arts, or it's like bodybuilding and martial arts. X, whoever X is, I feel like. Do you worry your high volume training schedule will stress body to point of flaring back POTS? No, I've trained much higher volume than this, and I was fine. The game with high volume training is like you need to recover, and then you need to get really, really good at recovering. So like people with POTS, I would say, are just really inefficient at recovering their nervous system. And so like if you never get back to baseline, you'll never be able to do this type of thing, right? And that's because your nervous system is so stressed out. So like the way that I like talk to people on consultations a lot of time is I'll be like, more times than not, someone with POTS got POTS as a side effect to something else that happened in their life, right? So like POTS, I don't care what a doctor tells you. I don't care what anyone else tells you. It's hard for me to like say in words that like make sense of the way that I'm thinking it, but I don't believe that POTS is just like POTS, right? Like I don't believe that it's just its own thing. What I think POTS is a series of symptoms of some sort of root cause, right? So like POTS, I don't believe is the root cause, right? Or the illness. I think that it's a symptom or a series of symptoms under an umbrella. I think I've said that in previous lives, but when you ask people when they got POTS, it's always some sort of big event happened, like some sort of stressful event happened, or they got COVID and they have long COVID now, or they had this dude that I'm talking to in the DMs right now, he had cancer and they think that that's what causes POTS, or they had a TBI, or they worked out too hard, or they got stressed. Like there's always something that caused it. Does that make sense? There's always something that caused it. So in my brain, where the logical conclusion would take me is like okay, so like if you get a TBI, right? Traumatic brain injury, the symptoms of dizziness and all these different things is like not the illness, right? The TBI is like the dysfunction of the brain is. So like POTS is the side effect of the nervous system dysregulation. The thing, so what caused the nervous system dysregulation, or what is currently causing that dysregulation? That's what you need to figure out. That's what you need to regulate again. Because a lot of times when I work with people, right, we get better from pulling back. We get better from recovering. We don't get better from doing work. We get, well, it's work, but it's recovery work. Does that make sense? I don't know if that makes sense. So you don't get better from doing more things. Like I have some clients that are like, can I bump my steps up? Can I do this? Can I add another day of working out? Can I eat more of this stuff? No. We recover. We pull back. Then we move forward. We learn how to recover first. We get in a parasympathetic state so that we're like eating the right things that actually help our bodies repair itself. We sleep well. We get on a normal sleep schedule, like a good sleep schedule. We clean up the sleep hygiene. We try to leave relationships that aren't conducive to mental and physical and nervous system health. We do enough steps that we have blood flow, proper blood circulation. We take the right supplements that are for us, that are based on our symptoms, and not just throwing pills at something, because Reddit says that B12 is good for energy metabolism when, oh, I'm an over methylator, I don't need more B12. You know what I'm saying? So we pull back, we learn how to recover, and then we move forward. X said that makes sense. Sweet. Sugimoto, good to see you on live again. Let's go. Do you meditate? I do not. I used to. I don't. I pray. I'm a Christian now. I pray. Jesus Christ is my savior. And I do some breath work stuff. So I have an app called Breathwork, literally. Take out the O. So breath, WRK, all one. And I do that before bed. And I will sometimes do it in the morning. The most important things, like sometimes meditation can be too, this is going to be another controversial take, right? People with POTS, sometimes meditation can be too much stimulation. If you have POTS, it's likely that you also have like intrusive thoughts or obsessive thoughts or anxiety or, things of that nature. And meditation can sometimes be, because most people don't understand the purpose of meditation. So meditation can sometimes be discouraging and actually put you in this sense of like, oh shit, wound up, right? It's not good for everybody. A lot of people don't understand that meditation is supposed to be observing the thoughts rather than trying to push the thoughts out. And so they get caught in this loop of, I'm trying to push these bad thoughts away, or they just push these thoughts away. So yeah, that's a big thing that I talk about with people too, if they ask me about meditation. I like breath work because breath work is just like, you're just putting your body into a parasympathetic state. You are calming it down. You're calming the nervous system down. And then I pray if I need more than that. in terms of support. So that's my take on it. By the way, did the chop, but I customized it. It helped massively. I can almost do stairs again. Hey, that's cool. Good job. Nice work. If you guys have seen any of my content, I'm not a big fan of the chops protocol, but if you tailored it to what you need, then good. All right, guys, I got time for a little bit more. So questions, and they'll be answered. And then I got to get to the gym. So I got to get to the gym, and then I have clients that I got to go work with right after that. So lay down your questions. Lay them on me. Facebook said that my birthday is today for no reason. Hopefully you guys didn't hear that. Does the flu or illness flare your POTS? I think that the flu and illness just make everyone feel like they have POTS. So no, but I definitely think that I get it when I do get sick. I think that I do get it worse than other people, but I rarely get sick. Yeah, I rarely get sick. When I do, I get hit pretty hard. It's always been that way though, my entire life. Like I get the flu, like the stomach flu once every like 7 years or something, where I'm like violently throwing up. Oh gosh, that would mean that. Yeah, no, it doesn't. I don't know. I don't think so. And another thing is this too, is like, I don't identify with my chronic illness. So I don't even associate things like that anymore. Like I don't even think about that stuff. If I feel like shit, I feel like shit. And that's basically all I chalk it up to now. Gotta go walk. Do you put out anything about when your lives are? No, I just started back Sugimoto, and like my mission now is to work with a bunch of guys with POTS. If you guys didn't watch this entire live, that's what I'm going to be focusing on, is like taking on clients that are men that are suffering, building community around that. Going live for a bunch of people, everyone, and answering questions. But yeah, I'm going to try to, my goal is to literally become a full-time online POTS coach now. I think men are suffering and they need help. So yeah, that's the goal. Become full-time online POTS coach. So no, I haven't put anything out about that yet. To be honest with you, my schedule is freaking crazy. So it's going to be sporadic right now, because like Monday and Wednesdays, I have clients basically from 5:45 in the morning all the way until 11 a.m. And then, and I'm treading lightly when I say this, because I'm super blessed to have all that. Yeah, I'm not gonna say it. 5:45 to 11 a.m. Most of my business is online now, so I come back home and I do online, or I edit videos to put out, and handle DMs and client stuff online in my app. And then Tuesdays and Thursdays, I have people just from 9 to about 11, and I have people at night on both of those. On all 4 of those days, 2 Fridays are open. So I'm trying to find a balance, because I also need to work out, take care of myself and my family. I'm trying to find a balance. So I'm going to be going live hopefully every single day. I just have to find where I can do this, because for my own personal well-being, my mental health, my physical health, I have to go do martial arts once a day, like kickboxing, jiu-jitsu, mixed martial or MMA training. I have to do that. It helps me out a lot. I also have to weightlift or do some sort of CrossFit, because that helps me out a lot. But I have to handle this stuff too. So we're trying to figure out a good balance. And I think that I'm trying to work my schedule. So we're going to see. Mostly, I think that you guys can look forward to me being live at like noon every day, Central Standard Time, or like 1 p.m. Central Standard Time. Somewhere between noon and 1:30 Central Standard Time. It's 1:46 by me right now, just so you guys know. Would you say you're 100% over POTS, like you no longer have POTS? No. I used to say yeah, but no, I don't think that you ever do truly get over. See, this is one of those things, right? Um, because okay, this is a really hard question to answer for a couple. I'll just give you one reason. Because so many people in their life, like everyone, this is how I explain this to like everyone, right? The general population thinks they're thriving, but they're really operating at like 70% capacity of like what 100% of a human thriving would be. Um, and so they all experience similar things to POTS. If you ever talk to somebody in general population, they do experience dizziness, like often. They do experience like things that people with POTS experience. Just not the frequency, and they don't have the health anxiety, and they don't have maybe the extreme fatigue, but they experience something. So like no, because I still have some things sometimes like this like blacking out feeling, but I also sweat a lot because I train twice a day, and I don't really care how well you hydrate, you're never really going to catch up, and when you work out the way that I do. Also, I sometimes don't eat as much as I should be eating to support my training, so there's that. Sometimes I still have some health anxiety, which I think is like to be expected, but it's not like I'm not rushing to the hospital. Um I'm not like freaking out or anything like that. I'm like, "Oh, that was weird." So, no, and I still get like heart palpitations, but literally don't scare me at all. They don't bother me. Because it's just like normal. So no, but like I live life more normal than a functioning person does. Does that make sense? Does that make sense? Like your average run in the mill Wisconsin dude who's like chubby, eats cheese and fried cheese curds all day and drinks beer every weekend, like I function at a way higher level than that guy ever will. you know, but I still have some symptoms sometimes, I guess. I hope that makes sense. Luke, does caffeine, such as a few cups of coffee throughout the day, help you maintain optimal energy levels, less potsy, feel less potsy? That's a really good question. No. Actually, something that I have figured out recently is I'm actually quite sensitive to caffeine now. Um, last year for the past last year and like a year and a half, right? Let's say the last year and a half. We started like we were traveling a bunch and we were working with a coffee company, Paper Street Coffee. They're good, they're homies of ours. We're actually going to see them in California next week. So I got to figure out the live schedule for next week. I'll probably be going live on a beach. um but I abused the shit out of caffeine because we had access to coffee, and every event that we went to around the country, I was drinking coffee literally all day. So like 3-4 cups of coffee, 3-4 lattes, probably like close to 1,000 milligrams of caffeine some days. And so, yeah, I noticed that just recently, like a few months ago, I've become very stimulated by caffeine, like not like physically stimulated, but like mentally and like ooh, like this like breakout of like not in a bad way, but like a breakout energy type of feeling, like that pit of your stomach anxiety, but not like a bad one, not like a fearful anxiety, like a I need to go do something, like I need to go get shit done, like the ADHD feeling, right? Which I have. Um, so yeah, it doesn't help me maintain optimal energy levels, I would say. It just kind of levels me out and puts me over the edge sometimes. So like I had kickboxing today and I had coffee at like I like go to this coffee shop that's like 10 minutes away almost every single day, and I go get a iced cold brew um thing. And so I have this ice cold brew. And today, hold on, guys. Heather's okay. And so today I went and I started like I have a slow COMT variant. Okay, that's a gene. This is the easiest way to explain it. It's a gene that uh breaks down catecholamines, is responsible for that type of stuff. And so adrenaline is one of those that that breaks down slow for me. So I had the coffee between like 7 and 8 to 8:30 is probably the span in which I drank it. I'm very cognizant now about drinking my caffeine slowly. But then by the time that by kickboxing at 11, I was ready to go. Like I knew I needed to get my ass in that gym and beat some shit up because of that feeling. So for me, actually, what levels me out the most and what helps me like stay focused, and I've noticed the biggest difference in terms of like even keeled energy throughout the day. I shit you not, is ketones. Like ketones have been huge for me. And I went and got organic acid testing done. And it turns out that my body is like super not good at producing ketones, like super not good. So, yeah, when I first started experimenting with ketones was during my ultra marathon prep. Sorry if I'm divulging too much, but I got ketone IQ. There are these little shots and it had 10 grams or 10 microgram, no, 10 grams of hydroxybutyrate. And that's when I noticed that like ketones really do good for me. Really good. I took it and the first time, like 5 minutes later, I'm dialed in. Almost like I was on Adderall, which I took a long time ago. And yeah, so now I drink these kinetics whenever I have access to them, basically. I try not to buy them all the time because these do get quite expensive and I drink coffee every day. But I keep ketone IQ stocked in my fridge, just in case I need a little pick me up. So, yep. I hope that answered that question. Keep the questions rolling in, guys. If you have questions, I'm here. I only got a few more minutes. I got to answer this text from my lady, though. When you had POTS more severe, did it make travel really difficult, avoided because of hassle? So I didn't really travel when I was like going through the thick of my POTS syndrome. Yeah, I didn't really travel back then. I didn't really have the option to travel back then, I guess, because I was building my business. And any money that I did make, I was pouring right back into it. A story that I really do want to tell is how alcohol helped me get over POTS. This is a really hot take and controversial. And I'm going to tell it in a different live. But I was just thinking about this the other day. How alcohol actually got me like partially through POTS. And I do not recommend it whatsoever. And that's why I want to tell this story. But it's kind of a crazy story. It's definitely not something that I would recommend because I think that I actually kind of started this spiral of like me having a little bit of an issue with alcohol. Not in terms of like being an alcoholic. I was never an alcoholic, but I would eventually have an issue with alcohol in the way that like I would act like a dumbass and drink too much when I did drink. So that's a story that I want to tell. Story for a different time. Because alcohol dulled adrenaline feeling. Kind of. I'll give you a little tidbit of it now. It not only diluted the adrenaline feeling, but it also just took away the inhibitions, right? So I didn't have the ability to notice or focus on symptoms because I like as soon as the weekend hit, I was ready to drink. And so like I remember not the first time drinking after getting diagnosed with POTS, but it was like a summertime thing. And my friend, like I had basically isolated, and then my friends like asked me, like, what's up? Let's go like do something, let's go drink. And we were on a boat. And I got hammed, like I got hammered. And we pulled up to this like mansion on this lake that one of my clients actually at the time owned. And I remember that there was like this stair set, and I was like, oh, no way. No way. Like, it was a huge stair set. And I told one of my like, my best friend, I told my best friend, like, "This is what's been going on. This is, like, making me nervous," or whatever, and I was sauced. Like, I remember how drunk I was and how I felt. And, he, like, told me, "Dude, like, I didn't know. Like, I had no idea. I'm really sorry. Like, are you good? Like, are you okay? Blah, 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 blah." And, that was the first stair set that I had climbed in a long time. It was, like, humongous. It was, like, such a big stair set. And, that made me realize, like, "Oh, shit, I can do this." Right? Like, I can do this. And then my posture journey actually got better. But there's way more to that story. There's way more to that story. So I figured I would just tell you guys that. All right, guys, give me like 5 to 10 more questions. If you're in here, dude, I guarantee you have a question. Give me something that's more related to like the male struggle with POTS, though. Give me things that, like, if you're a man or if you're a woman curious about the male struggle, give me more of that. That's what we're here for today. I want to really speak to this type of stuff. I did a lot of talking about it earlier on the first hour of this. But just hammer me with the questions. 5 to 10 more questions I'll answer, and then I got to get out of here. Finished up my ketone IQ. By the way, if you're curious, I haven't tried the watermelon one yet, but the blackberry lemonade. Blackberry lemonade. It's key. I worry that I'll have a very bad illness that will restrict me with exercise and flare pots, and how I will provide for a future family. How old are you? Are you a current client of mine? Dude. Could Logic Pro just quit? Just quit. There's no reason. 32 and yeah. Okay. Got it. You won't. You have the plan. You're on the plan. You're doing well. I know who you are. You're doing well. All right, guys, give me more. Even you, X, even you. Give me more questions that pertain mostly to the male struggle. Okay. Questions about the male struggle, questions about differences, questions. Just give me the questions, guys. There's a few of you in here. Got to reply to comments on TikTok, of course. Similar to getting an office job, I want a leadership role with a dream job, but I might find it hard showing up every day, every week. Similar to getting an office job, I want a leadership role with a dream job, but I might find it hard showing up every week. I think that. So if you have gotten into remission, or once you get into remission with POTS, the only thing that's going to hold you back from there is the mental aspect. And it's actually my inclination to say that, it's my inclination to say that the majority of POTS dealings is going to be mindset. So your ability to get through POTS, your ability to actually deal with symptoms and things of that nature, probably the biggest portion is going to be your mindset and how you frame what you're going through and whether or not you frame that you can get through it. Many people, although they want to do the work, right? They want to do the work. They won't do the work necessary because subconsciously they have not done the mental work. They haven't done the mental work to get themselves fully better. Our subconscious mind holds us back from more things than our conscious mind ever could. Because, and like, I can even speak to this in a few ways. The best way that I can speak to it is monetarily. My subconscious mind is always so focused on like how broke I was as a kid. And I have found that in the periods of time where I am the most giving, where I'm the most selfless, where I'm the most, what is that called? Most giving, selfless, generous. That's when I do the best work. And that's when I make the most money. When I'm not that way, which is the majority of the time, right? Like I'm a generous person with my time and like I like to listen to people and I'll talk to people, but in terms of like paying for things and stuff like that, like I have a scarcity mindset a lot of time. When I'm in that frame of mind, that's when I do the worst financially. And when I'm not in that frame, that's when I do the best. And it's because like my subconscious mind is holding me back. It's like in this scarce mindset, like I need to hold on to everything I have right now rather than take chances to gain more, to do more of what I want to do, to impact more lives, which will bring me more fruits, right? And so with pots, it's kind of the same thing. If your subconscious mind is always held on to this fear of like, what if I flare? What if I do too much? You're going to hold yourself back from doing all the necessary things to get the other things that you want out of life. So like you won't show up to a job interview because you'll be like, it just didn't work out. It wasn't right timing. But really subconsciously what it was is you're scared to accept the job. You're scared to show up to an office every single day. Because what if has killed more dreams than action ever will, than taking a chance ever will. Yeah. So that's my little tidbit there. Interesting. Thank you for answering. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Bruv, is your boy about to become TikTok famous, dude? In the POTS community? Everyone's commenting like you're the only guy that I've ever seen with POTS. You're the only guy. You're the second guy that I've seen with POTS. You're the only guy speaking up for POTS. Thank you for speaking up for the men. All right, guys. If there's no other questions, I think that's where I'm going to cut it today. I got to go get that work in. I got to go get strong, be aggressive, be mean. Yeah, for real, you're the only POTS guy POTS I've ever seen. Yeah, dude. And, you know, just a quick touch on that before I go. That's where like this new like ambition and drive is coming from. I think that a lot of guys suffer in silence. To round this out, a lot of guys suffer in silence in terms of POTS. They push through. They live seemingly normal lives. They go to work, they go to school, and they're suffering. No one believes them when they say things, or people tell them to man up. People tell them to stop being a pussy. Rightfully so, actually, kind of. But they're still suffering. And so they push on and they feel worse and they feel worse and they feel worse and they're miserable throughout life, and they will just continue to live their life like that. And I want to create a space for men to come together, to work together, to heal together, to be able to express things, not be negative, to be able to celebrate wins and to talk about their issues and problem solve together. I think that that's the most important thing. Men do not like to bitch and complain. If you're ever around a guy like that, then you need to get the fuck out of the room. Okay. And I don't swear anymore like that. Like, don't take this lightly. This is something that I really believe. Get out of that room, because you need to be a dog, right? You need to be a warrior. And that sounds extreme, but like, you got to get around other dogs. And if you're looking for dudes to sympathize with you, that's retarded. You want dudes to empathize with you, right? Be able to relate to your issues. And a woman's not going to be able to do that. A doctor's not going to be able to do that. It's only people who have gone through what you have gone through and had the struggle and then fixed the problem, and that will hold your feet to the flame and hold you accountable and tell you, stop doing this dumbass shit. This is what you need to do. Stay on the course, stay on the plan, right? I want guys to stop suffering in silence. I want men to stop suffering in silence and be able to have a community. Community is everything when it comes to the masculine. It is everything. You need to be around other dogs. And that's what the deal is with the program that Mick and I have now is, we don't have that many anymore, not right now. And that's what we're trying to build. We're trying to build new. All of my clients are Gen Pop for the most part. I have maybe 10 POTS clients again, still that I've had for a while. And so I want to get more men in the community together, 25 to 50 by the end of August, in a group on our app, talking shit, holding each other to the flame, holding each other accountable on Zoom calls 1 to 2 times a week, celebrate the wins, talk about, issues. How do you solve this problem? How, maybe something happened in a relationship, you had a breakup, you have more men to kind of relate to and talk to about it, and get better. That's where the flame is coming from. That's what the fire is coming from. That's why I'm going hard on this again, because I want to, by August, I'll probably still have my in-person business, but I want to be a full-time online POTS coach. I'm the only dude so far that I know that does this, that has the solution to the issue. There's probably other guys with the solution to the issue. I'm not going to say that I'm, some sort of prophet or something. But I'm the only guy that I feel like in this space has some sort of clout, right? 1,300 some subscribers, and then building Instagram and TikTok. And so I have the ability to create a platform for this. So that's what we're doing. So if you're a guy suffering in silence, suffering by yourself, stop doing that shit. And if you're serious about getting results, if you're actually serious, you're not just wanting to talk to someone, I don't want to get on the phone and do a therapy session with you guys. I'm just going to keep it a buck, right? No guy wants that. I don't want any emotional dumping on me. I want guys who are ready and willing to solve the problem. If you're ready to solve the problem, go to my TikTok, listed in the description below. Go to the Instagram, DM me the word solution, and that will let me know that you're open to the conversation of getting in the coaching program. But please do not schedule a call with me if you want a therapy session. It's not what this is about. All right, guys. Thanks so much for watching. Hope that you enjoyed that. Hope you got something out of it. Make sure that you go hit those socials in the description, the new TikTok and the new Instagram. Go follow, send me a DM, inquire on one-on-one, or inquire for one-on-one coaching. The quickest way to inquire is through email, jqfit1@gmail.com. I'll send you a booking link to my Calendly, and we can get started as soon as we're both available. So thanks so much for watching. Peace out, guys. Goodbye.